Kathy, I'm wondering, I'm thinking back at working in residential treatment where we would have all these process groups, but I always felt like the clients really learned more watching us in the hallways and how we interacted with each other as staff, that those were the real learning opportunities. So I'm wondering if you've ever used those tight spots with co-facilitators to be teachable moments in front of the whole group.
I have a memory that real time we have, but I really remember doing some co-facilitation with someone. Cross race, we're doing racial caucusing. We did a parallel day, whites, folks of color, multiracial, biracial, indigenous, and then we came together for a half day. And a question came from the audience, basically, what do you do if you're triggered or something? And my co-facilitator said, well, you could talk about the picture. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, don't you remember the picture? I'm like, no. I said, what was it? So this is from the Social Justice Training Institute. And at the time, this is Dr. Becky Martinez. We had 2 interns, and one of their responsibilities was to take the group picture. Both of the interns were women of color. I, as the white woman, day 4 out of 5. They were not taking the picture as fast as I wanted. So the story is, and I know I did this, I reached over, I took the camera, not out of Becky's hands, but Renique's hands, African-American woman, and then I started to organize everyone into taking the picture of the way. So I was so caught off guard. I didn't remember some 10 years before. I, as the white person, was very publicly being held accountable for incredible white supremacist, white culture, dominating behaviors. And I hardly remembered it. And so as Becky told the story, I'm like, it's coming back to me. I'm like, oh my God. So we worked it real time. Mm-hmm. And I was present enough to say, I can't even imagine the impact I had on you at that time. And so then she talked more. And then I was able to do public amends. And then we debriefed with the group. And the group was just like, oh my God, I can't believe you both had that level of authentic conversation in front of us. And then like, I don't know if we could ever do that. And then we used it as a moment. So to your point, Cole, yes, real time. I've only done it when it's been my behavior that was the trigger, is my memory. And it might have been after we discussed, someone confronted me that in the moment. And then I said, if it comes up later today, are you okay with my coming back to this? They're like, yeah. And so I usually do that when there's a content that's related and not just, oh, by the way, let me tell you what just happened, unless the group was impacted and I'm coming back to say, so can we go back to this morning? My guess is you all noticed when we talked about it. Now I realize the impact I had in my dominating behavior what I'd love to do, we've agreed to other people want to talk about the impact of what my behavior have. This person and I have worked it out, talked as co-facilitators, but co-facilitator, you may have more insights. And it was a public event. And so my guess is, in the moment, I also may have had some impact on you. And so I might use it to model how to explore impact, how to hear feedback, affirm, validate feedback, and make amends. Here's what I'm learning. I really hear that impact. I apologize. I'm going to continue chewing on this, thinking about it. My guess is we'll talk more about it. And if folks have any other feedback, I'm open, after 10 or so minutes of this, people have more feedback, I'm open to hearing, but I'm committed to doing my self-work to see what I need to be doing differently moving forward. So I have some memories of those. As an external consultant, I think it's easier to do because I'm not internal. As I think about who is in our class, some folks are senior level. They may have some marginalized identities, and they're also hierarchically senior level. And we all know that if you have, if you're a person of color and a vice president, director, whites already have all these racist attitudes. So I want to acknowledge the context with all my privileged identities, and as external consultant, I have more room to do that and be appreciated and not have long-term effect. Whereas some folks, people can use that as, see, we thought you were not very competent or racist from the beginning. So just want to have people thoughtful to always hear any suggestions that I have through all of my identities and go within your context. And I think it's always a good idea to model from all your privileged identities when you've misstepped, had an impact, explore, and then ask folks, what was the impact of us having this conversation and when have you done this? Are there some moments with your teams where you need to maybe go back, just as we did today? Are there some moments where you're like, I want to go back and explore from 2 meetings ago, I did this and I wonder. So you could give people a chance to reflect and maybe talk with a partner and make a commitment how they want to go back and do a similar thing particularly.